friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we are bringing you episode 6 in our Design Within Reach series. This is a series where we tour everyday people's beautiful homes to show you that you can create a home you love within your means, no matter what budget you have. Today I am so excited to share Deb Foglia's home with you. You might know her on Instagram as Seeking Lavender Lane. She's a blogger, she has a vintage marketplace, a vintage shop. She is an avid antiquer, does lots of DIY. She has such an incredible eye, and her home has that old world European feel that we know you will love. So let's get into it, check in with Deb, and share her home with you.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
This is Luca.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Oh, Luca's very excited to see you.
Hey, buddy. I am so excited to be in your home finally. I've seen pictures on Instagram, but it really is like so different being in this space. I was sharing out there a little bit, but your home really has that old world European feel that you're just like feel transported, and it's just perfection.
Oh,
so
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I'm so happy you guys are here, and
Aw.
I'm really excited. So.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, so before we take a tour through your home, I would love for you to share a bit about your inspiration. How did you get into design, and where do you find most of your inspiration when it comes to decorating your home?
So I started loving design probably middle school, going way back. I used to love watching Trading Spaces. That was my show. And then I ended up going to college for fashion. Kind of, love the idea of just the fashion world, which I feel like they kind of crisscross a lot. Home
100%.
fashion and so then after college, I just started really getting into design, and we got our first apartment, and I started kind of DIYing and just learning different things. And so it kind of just took me on this journey to really loving the interior world. And I started my blog. My style, I feel like, has evolved over the years, and our houses kind of have a lot to do with that. So this one being our very first old house, which we've been here for not even a full year yet. So
wow.
Yeah, and I feel like the house, I'm learning my style in this house, and then also taking things that I just love, which is generally European inspired.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I definitely see that. I feel like every piece is so special, and you have so many beautiful pieces that's what I love, and what we connect over with antiques and vintage pieces.
Yeah.
That they really carry a story, they have history, and you can feel that depth when you walk into a space.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to hear about where you got all these pieces.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Come on in.
All right.
So this is the living room. Now, when we first saw the house, they had this as just the formal living room. We've kind of made it our family room also, but we also made it into a combined living room and dining room, just because of the way we've rearranged, which I'll show you later with our kitchen and stuff. But yeah, this space, I felt really just inspired by the structure and the architecture. I think, old homes, just the bones, it's already here, the windows and the placement of the windows. And so just selecting pieces, whether they're vintage or new for this space, I just wanted it to really reflect the style, and then also continuing with the European touch, and of course lots and lots of vintage.
Yes. So why don't you tell us a bit about some pieces in here that are really special to you, any steals that you may have found?
I mean, I guess we could start with the sofa, because it's it's the one thing I get on my account all the time. People are like, I love your sofa. And I wanted something a little bit more formal. So this is not vintage, but I felt like this could look like something in a Parisian apartment.
Absolutely.
The velvet.
Yeah.
I loved this cognac color. It feels more structured, but it's also really such a great couch to just plop on. It's super comfy. So this was kind of I built the whole room around this sofa. It was I knew I was gonna do white walls, and I picked this, and I love the fact that this brought in some color and warmth to the space.
Yeah. Now, where is this piece from?
So this is from Lulu in Georgia.
Okay, yeah. Love their pieces.
Yeah.
I asked because we're gonna have a link for you guys to be able to shop Deb's homes, pieces in our home. So as I know most of it is vintage and antique, so it's
right.
harder.
This one's not.
But we'll be able to share a bit of that. Would you say that when you're designing each room in your home, do you start with like a focal piece and build from that? How do you kind of approach decorating each space?
Yeah, I feel like every space is different. I love to just fuel myself with inspiration, whether it's through Pinterest or Instagram or design books. And so I feel like when I'm about to start a space, I just want to absorb lots of different styles and all of that. And then I feel like I have to feel the space, I think it's something that I want to feel. I want to design it to have a certain feeling. And so for this, I wanted it to almost feel very Parisian but laxed. So
yeah. I love that. I love the thought of starting with the feeling you want for the room and then building from there, because I think a lot of people skip that part. I just feel like that is so key, is having that feeling, because the colors you choose, the pieces, the textures, this velvet,
right.
Yeah, that can really add to that feeling or retract from it.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, personally, I want you to tell me about this little corner over here, because, oh my gosh, I feel like it just is such. Anyways, I'm not going to talk. You just tell me about it.
Okay. Come on over to the corner in this space. So it's fun because our last house was open concept, so I didn't have great corners, so I'm really loving the fact that I have corners in this house and more walls to decorate, and I'm always changing things, so nothing's ever fully permanent. I think this has changed probably 5 times since we've been here, a year ago, but it's all about the tapestry.
Yes.
So this tapestry, I actually got this on eBay. I knew that a tapestry in this space would just really create that European vibe. I mean, they're very much on trend right now too. So all my favorite designers and design spaces have tapestries. And I'm like, I just felt like this space needed it. It's the colors for me and how they bounce off of the sofa to here, that angle coming here is just they just play so nicely, the turquoise and then that cognac color. So the next piece would be this lantern, which I think they're mid-century. I don't think they're really old. I have one here and I have one on the wall in the dining room, and I got these from Brimfield last year, right before we moved in. I was like, these feel so we call our house the Mountain Chateau. These feel so the Mountain Chateau.
Oh, I love that.
So they're in plugins too, which is really cool. Yeah. They don't have to be hardwired.
That's a great thing too, to take sconces, even if they are hardwired, to turn them into plugins, because then you can just put them anywhere.
100%.
And for those of you who don't know, Brimfield is an antique market in Massachusetts, and it happens 3 times a year.
Yeah.
We went for our first time recently. We actually have a video that we'll tag here, but there's so much good stuff there. And this is a piece you got from us.
I know. I have a few. I'm I have to remember to say that, and I forgot. So
no, you can always count on me to point out one.
Yes, at your pop-up when I first met you.
I love it because I've also seen you style it on your coffee table. And I love that. I also love just plate decor, hanging plates. I think it's so beautiful, and I love how you have it in the middle there.
Thanks.
Makes me so happy seeing it there. All right, why don't we go to this side of the room?
Sure.
And share about this corner. I love this piece.
So I think one of the things when it comes to my style is that this house needs a certain style. I feel like it's a little bit more formal than our last house, and so I feel like I've gone a little bit more formal here.
Yeah.
And not that that's not part of who I am, but it's just a little different than what I've done in the past. But there's that little rustic part in me still, and I love bringing rustic meets formal or classic together, and it's actually a challenge, but I feel like when you love pieces, again, you could still make them happen. You could still make them work together. But it's a staple piece that I don't think I could ever get rid of. It's just one of my favorite pieces of furniture ever. So this I actually got from Facebook Marketplace years ago. I got it for a steal. It was $150.
Oh my word.
It was insane. There's a long story. I probably won't share it on camera, but there's a long story to what happened with it afterwards. So
oh my God.
it was one of those that then the guy wanted it back after he sold it to me.
Stop.
Yeah.
And he brought it home and then he wanted it back?
Like a couple weeks later, yeah. And then I've taken a couple drawers out. I've had a couple more taken out in the past. Right now it's pretty full.
Oh,
but I
wow.
like how it kind of looks a little bit more, I guess, lighter by taking some of the drawers out and then just having them styled, whether they're books and,
That's
you know.
so smart. Why don't we make our way here and you tell us a little bit? I
Alrighty.
love this little
Thank you.
vignette.
So this corner it's interesting because, so these two prints I had in our last house, they were Facebook Marketplace find, and I love the way they look. I love that they're a set. It's one of the things that I always recommend, especially like in our website. I'm always like, well, if you could find something that's a set, it's like easy wall decor. Like, boom, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to find something that's gonna match or get a perfect frame. Like, it's so easy.
So why don't we turn over to this side, the dining room?
Yeah.
I know that I would love for you to tell us a bit about this.
Yeah. So the window that you see here, behind it is our sunroom, and that was an addition by the previous owners. So they left the window, which makes a lot of sense because you're getting that light coming through still. But it was making me crazy because all you did was see the furniture in the other room, you know, and it just wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't cute. So hubby built this for me. So we just put some paneling and, like, you know, all of this is like molding here. So, you know, just to make it look like panels, right?
Yes.
So he did that. And then after I felt like it was like, well, it just needs something. And I just went crazy one day because I was like, okay, we have to just get this done. And I'm not really happy with it still. And so I decided to paint this mural. It was just such a, like, never did anything like this before. I was like, I'm just gonna give it a go, and had all paint on hand, like from and just went for it.
It turned out beautifully. I mean, it's
thanks.
like, I love that you just went for something that you hadn't done. Like,
It was a creative moment. I had to get off the computer, you know?
And you were like, and then your husband comes out and he's like, didn't see that before.
He comes down, he's like, I'm not sure about this. And I'm like, I have to finish now. I have to see the end result, because like it was in my head at this point.
Yes.
And then I kept the window up top still, because I wanted it to almost feel like a transom, you know, where we're still getting that light coming through. I like that you at least get that, like, light from the top versus covering the whole wall.
Yes. Can you take me into your kitchen?
Yes, come on in.
I've told you this before, but this, like, is I think my favorite space in your home that I've seen, like, through Instagram. Like, it's just, I feel like I personally would be so inspired to cook in here. I mean, I feel like everywhere you look is just so beautiful. So
Thank you.
I love it. But
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us, because I know that this wasn't originally the kitchen, right?
Yeah, so this was originally the formal dining room. I would say this and probably our primary bath were the two major renos that happened in here. So when I saw the house initially, I was like, oh gosh, you know, old house, old, small kitchen, right? And so I'm like, well, like, I love the rest of the house, but could I actually live in a house where the kitchen's smaller and off to the side? You know, we just came from an open concept house, so just that change would have been really, really hard for us. And then we were like walking around like, wouldn't this be really great as the kitchen? And so that's kind of where it just, like, the day we saw it, we just started envisioning the dining room as the kitchen. And so I guess, like, back in the day, they had smaller kitchens, but then, you know, you would have larger dining rooms for people to gather around. And today we don't always formally sit in our dining room. So it made sense to bring the dining room into the living room and then make this the kitchen. So I had envisioned it a lot of different ways, and then eventually kind of came upon this way. And I knew that niche back there had to be something. So
it's amazing.
Thank you. I had my contractor do all the tiles, and I wanted to kind of feel like a Victorian kind of kitchen, you know, so that's where we did all the nail heads in between to give it that, like, English Victorian feel.
I love it. And this marble, I love.
This was the marble that, like, I couldn't, like, stop thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, well, we could probably find like Carrera for like half the price, you know, but it was like I said, like between the niche and the stove and this, like the kitchen's pretty simple. You know, you have a set of cabinets here and the island, and then we use the original built-ins. Doesn't have a lot of intricate details. And so it felt like these were those finishing touches that like we had to do to really create that like over the top feel in such clean line space, you know?
And I also love that you have a spot here to sit outside and look. It's like your little French bistro.
That was like my moment. I was like, it has to feel like I'm in a French cafe.
I'm obsessed. It's so nice, and I love this little curtain. And these built-ins are amazing. So you painted these?
We painted these. So these were original to the house. So the built-ins in the dining room. They were originally wood. I left the backside. I actually just had this vision about redoing this whole thing, but that's for another episode. But this is, I left the wood on the back of here, which I kind of love because sometimes I'll keep it open. I love that little touch of the wood. Yeah. But the wood color was like almost like had a red to it. It was like very cherry. And so I thought about leaving it, but the red tone just was like
distracting.
It just made me crazy, and I said, forget it, we'll just do it all white. And so, but I have this other vision that maybe will happen eventually. But
okay, we'll do Deb Foglia's home tour 2.0.
Yeah, come back next year, it'll probably look totally different.
Yeah, literally, it probably will. Well, this is incredible. Hey guys, just wanted to pop in and let you know that if you want to see the extended cut of Deb's home tour, also any of the home tours in our Design Within Reach series, you can head over to the link below, join our membership. Inside, you're gonna get design courses and live calls with industry experts. You'll get to dive deep into the world of design and learn how to create a beautiful home you love within your means along like-minded people. So make sure to check it out. More details at the link below. And let's get back to seeing Deb's beautiful home. Let's go into the sunroom.
Yeah, let's do it. This is like the room we spend probably the most time in besides the kitchen. Like, I feel like we're always in here, and that's why it probably looks like it's a little lived in right now. But I feel like it's a work in progress design-wise. Like I have this, like I want it to feel like an orangery. Like I have like plans. We want to change the light fixtures, but it's like on its way. But it was such a great space that when we found the house, it was like, oh my goodness, a sunroom. Like, you know, just how amazing. But we have coffee in here every morning. You know, now that it's getting like nicer out, we've been sitting outside again, but like in the winter, it's like, it's so bright in here, so it's like so cheerful, you know, and the snow's falling, and love watching the birds fly, and you know, so it's a really great space. So, but this room is basically all Facebook Marketplace finds. I got this little striped sofa, which I love. It's like a 90s like sun, you know, couch or whatever, and I just thought it was like, love the green and white stripes on it, and this was a Facebook Marketplace find, and so just kind of brought like lots of greens in here. This is like one of my favorite pieces. I bought this before we even moved, and I was like, that has to be my sunroom coffee table. I loved like the swans on it. I love anything with swans. And
I see a bit of that throughout your home, so I love that you like add it in each little spot you can find.
Yeah, this is like our let's have coffee and dream and, you know, kind of room. So
in your home, you want a space where you're gonna be comfortable in cooking, right? Eating. You want to have a space where you feel like you can just relax and not think. You want to have a space where you're inspired, and like that's your living room, like very rich and inspiring. Right. It's so nice to find those different moments, and thankfully you guys have a lot of different rooms to play with. What would be your advice for someone who is in a smaller space, who wants to like play with those things but doesn't really have as much space to play with? How could they achieve that?
Well, I feel like for me, one of the things that I always talk about is like, I love to have design my house like it's an experience. Like I feel like, you know, I think especially in the stage that we're in, we also like our money always goes to our house more than anything else in life. And so I always feel like we don't always have like the most like extra money to go on vacations and stuff like that. And so I'm like, well, this is our vacation, this is our home, and so how can we design our house to feel like an experience? So it's all in those little moments, like the little French bistro table in the kitchen, like that's my little cafe moment, you know, to, you know, finding a little corner that you can set up and make it like your reading corner or your, you know, your restful, this is my coffee area. And I think by having places where you design them for those little moments in your everyday or your weekend life, you know, is so important. And am I reading the Bible and drinking my coffee? Am I scrolling Instagram? Am I having a magazine moment? Like those are like, I need those little areas in my house, whether it's an outside spot or a little corner in your home, to just have that experience.
I love that. All right, let's go to the pantry.
Okay, let's do it. All right, here we are.
This is so nice. I love having like something, I feel like it's nice to have something off of the kitchen, I'm sure, to like take a break, do your own thing, come out.
100%. I feel like, so our last house, we had a butler's pantry, and when we were gonna do this house, I'm like, I can't live without a pantry now, which sounds so like ridiculous, but it really was. We put so many of our appliances in there, and you know, things that you didn't want on the countertop. And so I think if you have the room to like do a pantry, I'm calling this almost like a scullery now, like, you know, which I didn't realize what that was at first. And a couple people on Instagram had said that to me, and I was like, what's a scullery? And so I had to like look it up. And it really kind of is, it's a really like multi-purpose room. We're probably in here like the most, it gets the most traffic, but this was the original kitchen.
Wow, that's a big difference than what you have now.
Yeah, so this was the original kitchen, and here, right, so where our washer and dryer is, over here was the original stove, and then where we had our contractor build like this little closet here and stuff, and so this was the original fridge. And so it was fridge, stove, and then this all had the doors. We took the doors off and like painted the top part.
I love the, also just like the rustic touches, these like tables. I feel like it's just, it's like gives me that old English feel.
Thank you. Yeah, both are, well, this is Facebook Marketplace. This I got at a barn sale locally. We ended up putting casters on this recently. It's actually, I moved this around. So today it's in here, like sometimes I have it in the kitchen. So
tell me a bit about this floor too.
Yeah, so this was a DIY project we did in the fall. We originally had a planked floor and we pulled it out, and then I regretted that afterwards because it was probably could have painted that. And so we lived with it like with just like the concrete for a good, like, I want to say 4 or 5 months, and it was driving me crazy. And we needed a solution. Tile was going to be way too expensive. And then at that point too, in our renovation, like you start running out of money, and then you go, well, I'm not going to tile this room. Like I'm going to put all that money in this, like, you know, like mudroom area, you know? So this is all plywood. So we put all plywood down, and then we stained it, and then we did the Harlequin pattern on top with paint.
So fun.
And it's like one of those projects that like, you know, just turned out like better than we expected it. Like we're like, oh, this could be a temporary, and then we're kind of like, if it lasts forever, who cares? It's great, you know?
I love it. It adds so much character. All right, well, let's go upstairs now and see the bedroom.
Let's do it. So we kind of have 2 entrances upstairs. So we have like the little 2-step walk up from here, or you could come through the foyer.
This one, okay, cool.
We did all of the runner up here, and then my gallery wall is like one of the things that I envisioned like so much before we moved in. I was like, I can't wait to do a gallery wall on the stairs.
I love it. I love it. I don't think I made the connection that this, like based off of Instagram, I just like was like, oh, that is incredible.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, that was all the addition that the previous owners did, and it was like amazing what it did for the space in this room. Yeah, it's still a work in progress, that section, but like it's such a great like additional like little
so
dressing room slash like sitting room kind of feel.
Oh my, it's beautiful. Wow, well this is just beautiful in here. I love
you.
And your bathroom is right there?
Yep, my bathroom's over here.
Oh
yep.
my gosh.
So I kept it like in here. I wanted to keep like the bedroom more like neutral and bright and simple. And I feel like this room, unfortunately, is always a disaster. So I think it's like one of those rooms that I like sometimes neglect. I feel like, you know, bedrooms sometimes become that way. You know, you kind of like, it's, nobody else sees it. Like just throw the laundry in there, like, you know. So today it's like decently neat. But it is like one of those things that like, I don't think about the design in here as much as the rest of the house, you know?
Right, yeah. But I also like agree with what we were saying earlier, that I think a bedroom really just wants to be that like calm, peaceful, more simple space where you can just relax and sleep. Like. Yeah. So why don't we walk in here and you tell us a bit about this space.
So when we did this room, it was all like white, and I was like, well, I don't really want to paint the cabinets, but I want them to like go away. So we did this like all brown room. And I don't know, for me, when I designed the space, I wanted the bedroom to be bright, and then I wanted the 2 side rooms to be moody. Like that was the vision. Like this is gonna be bright and those 2 are gonna be moody. And so we went brown in here and kind of like dark charcoal in the other room. But I mean, you feel like you're sitting in the trees up here, which is awesome.
That's so peaceful. It must be such a good place to just come and relax.
Yeah, 100%.
Why don't you take us into your bathroom next?
Absolutely. So on to the other side of the bedroom is the primary bathroom. This was probably the most drastic of all the spaces. Like the kitchen was for sure, but this was like, I mean, this was completely totally different when we moved in. But I wanted it to feel like it was a dressing room bathroom. Like I wanted to kind of bring back that era, but like in a modern way, you know?
Yeah. I love this tub. It's so beautiful. And like the fact that you can peek in and see it, and that you have the shower here too. I love that you mixed the like checkered floors with the marble walls. That just adds so much character.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to do a lot of like play on pattern in here. So like the florals to the marble veining to the checkered floors. Like I felt like that was like, let's play on pattern, and it worked really well. It was so fun. And so the marble actually is porcelain. It's porcelain slabs. So it's another great way to get kind of that marble look for a lot cheaper.
I mean, yeah, I would have thought it was marble standing here. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I love this light. I'm sure with the natural light coming in, it probably reflects so beautifully throughout the day.
100%. There's like that little rainbow that comes through. You know, you'll see the rainbow light.
So nice. I'm sure it's so peaceful. You have your ducks out there with your fountain, your pond. Oh my gosh. Why don't we go into the next, I'm not sure what room is next.
Yes. So on to the guest room, which we just finished.
Oh, how cute is this?
Like I wanted it to feel like a bed and breakfast, you know?
Yes, I love the yellow. It's so happy. So this room you said recently came together.
We like just finished this like the other day.
So and did like, I remember you saying, did like you just kind of used what you had? Like you didn't necessarily get anything new for it?
Yeah, I mean, even like what you're like, mostly everything in here is just like things that I had, a couple new pieces, but really like it was just like effortlessly came together. I really didn't want to spend a lot, you know. The yellow was like, all right, once we painted, it was like, okay, like we've got a room here. You know, it just needed something.
Yeah.
And so the yellow was a color I've been dying to try. It's very trendy right now. And I just felt like, I just really want to try yellow. And I felt like with the angles of the room, it was just like, it felt cottagey, you know, very cottagecore. So that worked out really great. This mirror actually stole from my bedroom and put it here. And I'm like,
I love it.
I love that mirror. And I just took it down from my bedroom, brought it up here. This, like the little pieces of art. This lamp was like in my old kitchen. This piece I'm obsessed with. I got this off Facebook Marketplace, and it is just like the prettiest little like, it's just so pretty. I just, you know, this was all bedding I had already had. I was like, well, we'll just throw this on. You know, it's a guest room. You're like, I love for it to be perfectly curated, but in like, it's a guest room. Like, you know, let's use what we have. Let's save some money.
love to know what do you hope people feel when they come into your home, into your space? What is something that you hope that they experience or feel when they're here?
That's a tough one. It's starting tough. What do I hope people? I mean, I hope people are inspired. You know, I think you know, not everybody understands the want to do your home, you know, in a creative way, right? So I feel like everything I do is it's my creative outlet, right? I say my house is like a blank canvas, and this is where my, you know, artistry comes out. So I don't know if everyone always grasps that, but those that do, it excites me that they could walk away and say like, wow, I was inspired by that. I think one of the best things, just going back to like feeling and how a home feels, I love when somebody could come here and I could feel that they're rested. You know, if I have a friend that comes over and they just like, they want to plop on my couch, they want to sit here and feel like, you know, I've given them an experience, you know, whether they stayed over or they were just here for an afternoon. So I think that that's like, you know, if they're not necessarily picking up on the details, because maybe it's not their thing, but maybe at least they could walk away and go, gosh, I love going to Deb's house. I love going to the Foglias, you know, like that they feel like it was an experience for them.
Yeah.
A good experience, I should say.
A good experience.
Yeah. Sometimes it might be one of those too, like, oh gosh, get me out of here.
Well, I feel like we all have those places we go where it is an experience when you go there. So no, but this is like, I imagine coming here, you just want to just hang out and get cozy and relax. What has been like an obstacle in this house, whether it was like a physical obstacle or it could be just like a mental block that you had to work through in designing your home, and how did you kind of get through that? Yeah,
I think it's probably a good problem, but you know, especially as a decorator or designer, is just like transitioning to what this home needs. You know, like you start to get so comfortable in your previous home. Like for me, I felt like I was finally at this place in our last house where I felt like it was finally feeling like what I wanted it to. And so I think like coming to a new space, you start being like, well, what does this home require? And I think one of the biggest things I've learned over the years, and I try to always preach this, is that let your home take time. And for me, the most impulsive person that exists, like I feel like it's a very hard thing, but I've learned that when I make two impulsive decisions just to get something done, I'm usually not happy with it and have to spend more money and more time fixing it. And so I think you need to learn your space. And that is something I learned in my last house. As the years went by and I started realizing, oh, this actually should be this way or it should be that way. Yeah. And coming here, it's a totally different house. And so I need to really learn, what does this house need? What's the best lighting? What's the best time? You know, what's the best layout and all of that kind of stuff. And so I think it's really important to just like let your, know that things will take time and that eventually it'll be good.
Yeah. I feel like design styles, people be like, oh, what's your style? It's like, you can't really put it in a box, but do you have a way that you, like, any words that come to mind when you think of your style?
I would say the first number one thing is definitely European influence. I am just so inspired by anything European, coming from an Italian family. I think it's the lifestyle of the European home, you know? So it's the cooking, it's the entertaining, it's the simple living, it's, all of that. And then obviously anything European is generally old, so bring on all the old things. And so I always anything European. So whether it's a French cafe or something Italian or an English cottage, all of that kind of blends together. So I would say definitely European.
That's another thing. How would you suggest people who want to kind of mix two different styles, pieces from different eras, what's a good way to make a home feel cohesive while bringing things in that are from maybe the 1800s, and then you have something from the 70s, and then something from today? How would you suggest people make a space like feel one with lots of different eras and styles going on?
Yeah, I think like if you're choosing things you love, then you're doing something right. Don't just take it because it was like free, or if it, like I like when I like it and it's free, but like if it's just free, don't just take it. Really love the pieces you have. That's going to definitely make your home feel curated. So, so don't be afraid of, like, if I'm a little mid-century, but I'm a little, English cottage, like there's a way to blend them because you like them. Colors, like we were talking about with the wallpaper, is always going to be a way that's going to be able to make things bounce and come together. So making sure the colors are working. And I think a big mistake that a lot of people do is the size of the furniture. So as long as your furniture is sized well for your space, so you don't have this big obnoxious furniture that doesn't fit in a room, or a really tiny piece that doesn't work on that wall. So make sure that your furniture is the right size. That is going to really help. And I think that that's more the issue than necessarily blending styles, because styles will blend. People were really afraid of mixing metals for a really long time, or mixing wood tones. You can 100% do it.
Yeah, you're so right. I love that. I didn't think about that, about the actual size of pieces, and that could be the thing that makes it feel like wonky and not like it's totally fitting. Yeah. That's great advice. So what would be some of your best advice when it comes to finding like budget-friendly pieces for your home, somebody who might have a smaller budget? Where would you suggest they start?
Everything I look for is Facebook Marketplace. And you find such better quality items there than you would in almost most new things today, Flea markets, yard sales, estate sales. These are a lot of things that I source my own products for, that I sell. And so vintage is like the #1 way to find things that have more style, that are more interesting, probably better quality, and usually cheaper.
Yeah. Totally. And we dive into this so much deeper also inside of our membership. So we'll put the link down below, but we'd love to talk about, because a lot of people just don't know where to look, and they're like, but I look on my Facebook and it's all like things that aren't my style, and there's a certain way to train that. And so for anybody who's interested, we do go a lot deeper inside of our membership with that, giving you tips for that if you're interested.
I could almost remember almost everything and where I got it and probably what I paid for it, I don't know, to me, that's like such a story for me. And I guess as a collector, like I enjoy that because it's so much more exciting than saying, well, I went to Home Goods today, or I went to this store today, or, and nothing wrong with it, because I still shop at all those other places, but it certainly like makes it more interesting. And the more you do it, the more hooked you get to it, and the better you become at it.
Oh yeah.
So, and if you're not good at it, if you don't have the eye for it, there are people that do. And that's why you have all these small businesses that are doing, either they're makers or vintage dealers. And, I think that's why a lot of people come to Vintage Keepers. And for me, I've got the eye to say, I like it, it's good, this is what it should be priced at. And so they trust me that I've sourced that for them. And you're still buying that for a lot cheaper than you would, something new,
Yes,
so.
Definitely. Well, my last question is, I want to know if our viewers could take one piece of advice away from this time touring your home, our time with you, what would you want that to be?
I think, something I always recommend to people, and I said it before too, is like, find things that you love. And, you'll see that in the tour today, that like, everything I love all these things, and I love to try new things too. So it's like, yellow, like, so trying new things and trying things and always decorate with things that you just really love. Like, I think that makes it easy. I actually used to do a membership too, and in the I used to do it a couple years ago, and in the membership, it was a design membership, and one of the things that I used to tell them all the time is just, don't just buy something to buy something. Make sure you love it. And you should really love everything in your house, you know?
Well, that's such good advice. Thank you so much for being just like so welcoming and sharing all the things. I know that our viewers will be so inspired by this. And if you guys want to follow Deb on Instagram, you can find her at Seeking Lavender Lane. You can also shop her marketplace at vintage-keepers.com. What else? You have so much that you do. Is there anything else you want to, that I'm missing?
Well, I mean, my blog too, but that all kind of like, it all like goes together.
Where can they find your blog?
It's seekinglavenderlane.com.
Seekinglavenderlane.com. She's a woman of many talents. So
can't switch it off ever.
Also, if you guys want to see the extended cut of Deb's home tour, you can check out the link below. It'll lead you to our membership. We share all things surrounding the home, design, homemaking, the art of hosting and hospitality. And so we go into all that inside of our membership. You can see all of the extended cuts from all of our home tours from our Design Within Reach series there as well. So check out the link below for more details on that. But thanks again so much, Deb.
Thank you.
This has been so fun. And yay, we did it.
Yay!
All done.